These no-knead English muffins are the ones to beat. Can you stir together ingredients in a bowl? Can you make pancakes? Then I'm confident you can make English muffins. Given the increasingly urgent emphasis on social distancing and the challenges of finding certain grocery store staples due to the coronavirus, now might be as good a time as any if your must-haves involve a certain brand known for its enticing nooks and crannies. With a handful of ingredients and a limited amount of active work, you can have a dozen tender, tall and flavorful English muffins to enjoy now or later. They were never really part of my morning routine. But in my recent drive for better breakfasts, English muffins became an ideal bread for frittata or fried egg sandwiches. Now I can hardly imagine going a week without this recipe. The wet dough would be impossible to knead anyway. The high moisture and slow rise, on the counter for a few hours and then overnight in the refrigerator once shaped, pave the way for deep flavor and the desired texture. The dough is 1/3 whole wheat flour, contributing a slightly hearty, nutty flavor and tender crumb. After a spell in the fridge, the muffins are cooked on a cast iron griddle or skillet for about 16 minutes total. Don't rush the process or crank the heat. Keeping the burner on medium-low for a longer amount of time ensures proper rise and a completely cooked middle. Too many of my other recipes scorched on the outside before the interior set. To close out my English muffin push, I ended up making 3 batches to capture the muffins in various stages for the photographs you see. Sometimes, when I'm testing a recipe, I get tired of eating the results. This one? Not so much, and everyone at the office who filled a bag to take home agreed. Now it's your turn. Recipe note: the dough needs to rise at room temperature for 4 to 5 hours. The shaped muffins then rise for 12 to 48 hours in the refrigerator. Store the cooked muffins in an airtight container for up to a week at room temperature, a month in the refrigerator or 3 months in the freezer. Ingredients: 2 cups 285 grams bread flour, 1 cup 142 grams whole wheat flour, 2 3/4 teaspoons kosher salt, preferably diamond crystal, may substitute half as much table salt by volume, 1 1/4 teaspoons instant yeast, not rapid rise, 1 1/2 cups 355 milliliters cold milk, any percentage, 1/4 cup 100 grams honey, 1 large egg white, cold, 1 cup 142 grams fine cornmeal, for dusting, 2 tablespoons 30 grams unsalted butter, bacon fat or oil, plus more as needed. Steps. Step 1. In a large bowl, whisk together the bread flour, whole wheat flour, kosher salt and yeast until well combined. Add the milk, honey and egg white, stirring with a flexible spatula until smooth, about 5 minutes. The dough will be fairly wet but elastic, and will start to come together into a ball. Cover the bowl with plastic wrap or a plate, or transfer to a lidded container, and set aside at room temperature, 70 degrees, for 4 to 5 hours, until the dough is spongy, light and has more than doubled in size. The timing is flexible depending on your schedule. Did you make this recipe? Take a photo and tag us on Instagram with #EatVoraciously. Step 2. Generously cover a large, rimmed baking sheet with an even layer of cornmeal. You may use about half to 3/4 of it. With a large spoon, dollop out a dozen 2 2/3 ounce 75 grams portions of dough. It's perfectly fine to do this by eye. If you'd like, pinch the irregular blobs with slightly dampened fingers to tidy their shape. Sprinkle with additional cornmeal, cover with plastic wrap, and refrigerate for 12 to 48 hours. Step 3. Heat a 12-inch cast iron skillet or griddle over medium-low heat. If you have an electric griddle, preheat it to 325 degrees. When it's sizzling hot, check by sprinkling a few small drops of water, add half the butter and melt. Griddle the muffins until their bottoms are golden brown, about 8 minutes, rotating each muffin 180 degrees halfway through so the outer edges are moved to the center for even browning. Flip with a square-end spatula and griddle until the other side is golden brown as well. Depending on the size of your skillet or griddle, you may have to cook the muffins in batches, adding 1/2 to 1 tablespoon of butter to the skillet each time. Transfer the muffins to a wire rack until cool enough to handle, then split the muffins by working your thumbs around the edges to pull them open a little at a time. Toast before serving. Nutrition. Calories, 220, total fat, 3 grams, saturated fat, 2 grams, cholesterol, 5 milligrams, sodium, 270 milligrams, carbohydrates, 44 grams, dietary fiber, 3 grams, sugars, 8 grams, protein, 7 grams.